There are words you repeat every single day that are quietly shaping your financial life, and most people have no idea they're doing it. They think the difference between someone who has money and someone who's always broke comes down to income, luck, or opportunity. But that's not what actually separates them. What separates them is language, the way they talk to themselves, the phrases they repeat in moments of pressure, temptation, and decision. Because in those moments, it's not logic that takes over, it's conditioning. And if your conditioning is built on the wrong words, you'll keep making the same financial mistakes, no matter how much money you earn. Now think about this for a second. What do you usually say to yourself right before you spend money on something you didn't plan to buy? It's rarely random. It's usually something like, "I deserve this," or "It's not that expensive," or "I'll figure it out later." Those phrases might seem harmless, but they're not. They are signals, they are commands. And your brain listens. The moment you say those words, you're giving yourself permission to act without thinking long term. And the more you repeat that cycle, the more automatic it becomes. Until one day, you're not even aware of the decision anymore. You just act, and that's how people slowly lose control of their financial life without realizing it. Now here's where things get interesting. Disciplined people don't live without temptation. They don't wake up every day feeling perfectly in control. The difference is, they've trained a different internal language. When they feel the urge to spend, they don't say, "I deserve this." They say something like, "This isn't aligned with what I'm building." That one shift changes everything, because instead of justifying the action, they challenge it, they create friction. And that friction gives them time to think, time to step out of impulse and back into intention. And that's the key difference most people never notice. It's not about having more discipline. It's about having better conversations with yourself in the exact moment where most people lose control. Because when you change the words, you change the meaning. And when you change the meaning, you change the decision. This isn't motivation. This is mental conditioning. It's training your mind to respond differently under pressure. And that's what builds real discipline over time. So here's something you can start using immediately. Every time you feel the urge to spend money on something unnecessary, instead of saying, "I want this," you replace it with, "Is this aligned with the life I'm trying to build?" That question forces clarity. It pulls you out of the emotional moment and puts you back into a bigger perspective. Because in reality, most bad financial decisions don't happen because people don't know better. They happen because people don't pause long enough to think better. At first, this might feel unnatural. Your brain will try to go back to the old phrases, the comfortable ones, the ones that justify instead of challenge. But that's part of the process. You're not just trying to stop spending, you're trying to rewire how you think in those moments. And that takes repetition, it takes awareness, it takes catching yourself in the act again and again until the new language starts to feel normal. And there's something deeper happening as you do this. Every time you interrupt an old phrase and replace it with a better one, you're reinforcing a new identity. You stop being someone who reacts emotionally with money and start becoming someone who thinks, questions, and decides with intention. And once that identity starts to take shape, discipline stops feeling like effort. It starts feeling like who you are. Now imagine what happens if you stay consistent with this over time. Fewer impulsive decisions, more control, more clarity, less regret. It all compounds, and the gap between where you are now and where you want to be starts to close. Not because something external changed, but because you changed how you respond in the moments that actually matter. So starting today, pay attention to your words, not just what you say out loud, but what you say to yourself when no one's listening, because those are the words that shape your behavior, and your behavior shapes your financial life. Replace "I deserve this" with "This isn't aligned with what I'm building." Replace "I'll deal with it later" with "I choose long-term over short-term." Small changes in language, but massive changes in direction. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about money, it's about control. And control starts with the words you repeat every day.